Hold up. Wait, what? Hold up. It just froze on me. What the fuck?
I think I can hear you.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Here's your boy Top Bunk Sports. I got my guys with me, Chris and AP. What up, fellas? Welcome to another 7 Express Live, man. We've been expecting some news from spring training while we've been, sitting back and watching everything unfold. Obviously, it's been kind of a mix up with all the injuries, everything kind of going on. We obviously, for those of you that saw the game today, wasn't a good game for Kodai Senga, but we'll get to today's game later on. Shout out to everybody in the comments. We got Stan from West Point. He said, "Hey David, great timing because the game just ended. Kodai was bad tonight. Got lit up. Beatty continues to make his case. Flash Acuna at bats was awful. Soto continues to prove that he's underpaid." AP obviously, wants to put his phone out there and wants to out of the comments.
Yeah, I was like, "What's going on, everybody?" No, what do you call it?
Shout out to Patty.
Shout out to
Patty,
Patty.
thank you for getting on.
Tuning in. We got my guy from Nick's Twitter, my guy 95 Bully. Shout out for the support, kid. Thank you. But yeah, fellas, before we get into everything that we're gonna talk about, we got a special surprise for y'all, man.
That's right. We have a special guest.
Yes, we do. A very special guest. Now, he's coming out from the darkness. He's been in the archives for a while, handling business, doing what he got to do. But he said, "You know what? I'm gonna show love and I'm gonna make my return tonight." So, without further ado, let's give a very special welcome to our guy, Amish. What up, baby?
What up, fellas? It's been
What
a
up,
minute.
Amish?
Oh man,
It's good to be back.
Before you guys got on, I was telling Amish that like we're gonna have to go visit him to get eggs because the price is crazy.
Right.
Oh boy.
Right. Exactly. That prices for gas are ridiculous. But Amish, what's going on, man? How you feeling about the team so far? How you feeling about spring training and how you feel about Juan Soto, man? Because we're basking in the sun.
Yeah, I haven't put out my thoughts on anything. I've been quiet, been hiding out. But yeah, man, it's good to have Soto on the team. I wouldn't say I was shocked to see him sign, but it was definitely a surprise. I wasn't too confident it was going to happen, but excited to see him play on our squad. And I mean, he looks fantastic in this spring. I just want spring training to be over, bro. Like, the longer this stuff goes, more guys keep getting injured.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys don't look great, but you don't know whether to chalk that up to they're just like working on stuff or they really are going to be ass or what. Most of the time, I don't put stock into spring training numbers anyway, but we'll see, man. I just wanted the rest of the guys to get through this healthy and just start the season off on a good note instead of last year's 0-5. We as long as we can win one game in this first 5, we're already up, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's true. We're already winning.
Right. AP.
I know. I know. I was muted. What do you call it? I'm honestly like right now. I'm looking at this team and I'm just so over spring training. And it always happens every year. Like by the end of like the third game, I'm like, yo, let's get this over with. After you start seeing like the 13th minor leaguer get into a game, you're like, okay, I really don't need to see Garth Brooks get up there and start swinging. Like I'm ready for like the regular season. But yeah, this spring training to me has been longer than most just because of the injuries that we keep getting. Every other day, somebody just out the woodwork gets hurt. Like it was last week with Francisco Alvarez getting his hand like broken, and then you get this week with Jeff McNeil, all of a sudden has a strain that comes out of nowhere, and you're just like, what? Wasn't he just good yesterday? Like, I don't like right now. It's just bubble wrap time. Like, put Juan Soto in a steel case and just bring him to New York and just make sure that there's like 2 holes for him to breathe and just get him in here. I just don't want nobody to get hurt. Just get it over.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it right now we're just basically it's like a see and wait type of thing in spring training, right? Before you kind of get the full product. I mean, it's just kind of sad that certain guys got hurt right away. It's like it's one of those things where it's like, of course, the injury bug had to come right away. But in all naturality, obviously, you never hope injury on anybody. But I'm glad that if it had to be now, it's now. You know what I'm saying? You get him early, so that way it doesn't happen towards late August going into September when we're wrapping up for playoffs. So, you know, I'm glad that we were able to at least have some of those injuries now, and we didn't have to deal with it towards the end. Mez in the building says Juan Soto, deep right field. Our guy Jay Fern, he said, "My guys, I am finally able to tap in live and not watching the next day. LOL. Love to see y'all doing
shout out Jay Fern.
Guy Jay Fern, appreciate you. Mez out here trying to violate, says 2 minutes, Jay Fern.
Oh boy.
So this is in that comment section. It's gonna be Mez versus Jay Fern the entire time. I want people to realize it. We could be having a full blown conversation. Mez and Jay Fern probably gonna go at it because Jay Fern got a short a short attention span.
We just might pause this whole show and just watch that. Like that might be more entertaining.
a Friday fight. But let's get straight into it. I put a graphic here. So basically, like a little newspaper thing, and it kind of talks about the reports in spring training. Obviously, with the injury so far, for those of you that can see it, Sean Manaea is wrapping up. He's coming. He's started to throw. You got Francisco Alvarez, right, who got hurt as AP was talking about, and then you got the one and only Mr. Squirrel himself, Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil suffered an oblique, and now the conversation is going into whether Brett Beatty or Luis Angel Acuna is gonna start in for second base as of right now. Now, I did this graphic right here, and I think as much as people want to make fun of Brett Beatty, I think he's shown that as of right now he's in the lead to play second base come opening day. You look at his numbers right here: 29 at bats. He has a 379 batting average, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 1 stolen base, and an OPS of 1.110. And again, the opinions out there from Met fans are up and down when it comes to Brett Beatty, but you cannot deny the fact that this brother's hitting. He has a hot bat right now, and he's in the lead to play second base as of right now until Jeff McNeil comes back. What do you guys think? I'll start off with Amish, since he's a special guest. So Amish, what do you think about that so
far? Listen, I think most people would rather see Acuna get the spot, but Beatty doing what he has to do. The problem is it's every spring he looks great. Then you put him in real games and he can't hit. It's like the lights are too bright for him. So we got to see what happens. At this point with the McNeil injury, though, that opens it up for both of them to make the team, technically. So I don't know. Maybe you just play the hot hand, give Beatty a shot, and if he's not doing it, then you throw Acuna in there. The glove is going to scare me a little bit, obviously. I mean, he made a nice play up the middle, yesterday? But then he botched another one, right after. So it's going to be hit and miss. He's not his natural position. But he's doing it with the bat in spring. Acuna's been a little slow with his bat so far. The one thing with Acuna is I'm not afraid of him being able to field his position. He's a pretty solid defender. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue either way. Whichever way they go, I'm good with it, because I think we've seen from this regime early, if you're not hacking it, they're going to move on. So if Beatty gets his shot and he sucks, they're going to throw him back in AAA. They're not going to sit there and keep throwing him out there. So I trust them to do what's right. Obviously, you don't want to rot Acuna on the bench, but if you want to give Beatty a shot, play him that first week and see what he's got, then I'm not going to argue it. But yeah, as long as if he's not doing it, then yeah, you got to move on quick.
Right.
Mhm.
Chris?
I agree with Amish. I think Amish said it 100 spot on. It was like it's like you can't go wrong with either one right now. Me personally, I would like to Acuna because the defense up the middle is the number one key, especially when you have shout out to Ibby right there,
Shout out to
especially when you have
Gomez do his part, man. Appreciate y'all.
shout out to them guys, man. They do a good job over
Oh,
there.
by the way, so I don't forget. I don't mean to cut you off, Chris.
Mhm.
If any of y'all efforts want to smoke an MOB since it came out, and I already purchased it.
Mm.
I'm here. I am here. Hit me up. Let me know so we could get it down. I'm confident. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm gonna get that out the way. All right, Chris.
By the way,
Continue.
Top is starting his own gaming podcast called
Yeah.
Top Games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
continue, Chris.
I'm not gonna get into that because I stink. So,
Yo,
but yeah,
he may stink at MOB, but he a killer in COD. Y'all don't want to smoke him,
yeah.
Chris.
I was gonna
Nah,
say,
I'm
so
not good at that.
does this mean y'all done saving the world now that MLB's out?
No,
Or what?
Amish. I'm saving my OPS now. This is what I'm saving my OPS.
That's pretty
This
Then,
is what it's saving
if
now.
they ever make a COD version of baseball, you guys could like merge both worlds and save MLB.
Save the
There you
world
go.
and OPS
Yeah.
and stolen
Save
bases.
MLB.
You know, you save everything.
But all right, so Chris, so
But
what were you saying about
yeah, I would
the position?
like defense up the middle is the number one key, especially from a guy like Stearns that likes to address the whole what's his philosophy? Run prevention. So that's Acuna's the best guy to go. He's athletic. You know, this kid is he proved it that he could play. He's very athletic. He's very good at his position. Now the thing is that, like Amir said, Beatty right now is killing it, but we've seen this story before. It's like, yeah, is this is this real? But I do see adjustments in the swing. I'm not gonna lie, the two-handed swing, him going the other way, he looks more confident. Let's see if we could do that in the regular season. But hey, listen, if there's a world where you have Beatty and Acuna hitting in this lineup like that, when their number is called, we're cooking with gas at that point. Like McNeil, take your time. Go if you need another golf tournament, go take the other golf tournament if you have to, and we'll handle it from there. But I don't wish injury on nobody. I'm not celebrating the injury on McNeil because I did like what I saw from McNeil, but we got options. We got dudes that we need to see take over positions too. So we'll see which one of these guys gonna get the starting role. We all know both of them gonna make it. We know that. We just don't know who's gonna be the starter, who's gonna be the cheerleading guy.
I do have a question before AP goes. How long do you guys give Brett Beatty in terms of consistency before and I'm not wishing anything negative, but we obviously seen that when it comes to his offensive side, he can't find no consistency. So how long do you guys give him before he finds a rough patch? Because it seems to be like that with him every time he's up here.
Amish, you want to take that or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you can't be too quick on him. Like you got to give him like a little time to adjust to like regular games.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you give him a month. I wouldn't go much further than that. And it depends on how bad he is. Like if he's out there being a butcher in the field and he's not hitting nothing, then I think you got to pull the plug quick.
Right.
But if he's like passable in the field and he's kind of getting hits here and there, but not really taking off, then I feel like you got to give him some more time to see if he can get going. But yeah, it's just one of those things. It's going to be a field thing. Like they're going to have to feel it out and see how it goes. If that's the route they take, I don't know. Like we obviously aren't sure yet, but I feel like they are going to give Beatty the first shot. I just my gut feeling.
Stan from West Point says whoever starts at second base should get 50 games. AP, you agree with that?
I mean, I don't know about the 50 games. I mean, I do think that it would be wrong to like have a quick hook, but especially with the situation that we're currently in, it does look like you guys were saying I'm 100% behind. I do think that Beatty and Acuna, because of this injury, allows both of them to make the roster. I'm really concerned with Beatty and his defense. He's not a by nature not a second baseman. I don't know. Could he turn a double play? Can't does he have the legwork? Like you can't just plug in a third baseman and say go play second. My biggest thing with this whole thing was why didn't we get him at second base even before the McNeil injury, more opportunities. I felt like they could have got him in at second base more and earlier in camp. It didn't seem like they did that. So I really wasn't understanding what the protocol is. And another thing that people keep bringing up is that let's say McNeil comes back, then what happens? Because are we gonna be okay with Beatty being the backup utility guy? Like if there is an injury to let's say Lindor, or he just needs a spell, who's going to be the backup shortstop? Beatty, I don't know how natural he's going to be at that position. I'm more worried about the defensive side because offensively, I think he has a shot to be okay. I mean, he's done this before, so I really don't know what he's going to do offensively, but I'm more concerned about the defensive side because I don't want errors happening. I don't want missed opportunities on double plays. I don't want extra outs. Extra outs lead to tired arms, lead to more runs, extra outs that then put a strain on your pitching staff that we have all talked about being a little bit concerned with to begin with in terms of the starting rotation. So you want to do your pitching staff with you want to do right by them. You don't want them to go out there and be like, oh my God, how many outs do I have to get in this inning? Like you don't want that, especially if they're doing their job. So I'm knocking on wood, hoping that this guy could be a fit at second base and that it works out because I am rooting for him. I'm rooting for the kid. We'll see. I think to be honest with you, it's a more like we'll see. If he is just butchering everything, I can't give him 50 games. I can't. Like I think you have a better glove in Acuna, who is a better up the middle type guy. So I don't think that you have the luxury of saying, okay, we'll give Beatty a whole 50 games to find himself at second. I think you try him out, see if he could handle the position, and if it's plainly obvious that he's like not a match there, then you gotta take him out there and put the guy that could actually play the position.
Yeah, I mean, my concern is on both ends because when you look at his bat, I mean, he comes up here for small spurts in the beginning of April. He's hitting, and it's not mainly power. It's just contact. But then he goes quiet. Then he goes cold. And then this fan base turns on him, and it's like, this is Brett Beatty. This is the guy you want. And then all of a sudden, he goes down to AAA, and he's trying to hit number 756, and he's Barry Bonds. Like that. That you can't have that. You can't have that with Acuna. Yes, he's struggling now, but it's like he still has a valid point in terms of what he gave you when he got called up. This is his second time being up here. Brett Beatty has had multiple chances since 2022. It's like I'd rather go with the young guy who already looks comfortable turning double plays with Lindor than putting a guy out there who has barely touched second base and we don't even know how he looks with Lindor. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to take that risk to start off the year. And again, is not saying that Brett Beatty doesn't deserve the chance. Spring training is all about giving these guys opportunity, and if they're getting hot at the right time, go ahead. But he's played more than 500 games. When does it start? When do we start holding him accountable? Like, I understand Flip's point where he says give Brett Beatty a month, but at some point, unlike Acuna, it's like you're looking at Brett Beatty. He's had multiple chances already. When do we start going with the younger kid who, when he was up here, he actually did show flashes. And although he's having a rough spring training, maybe giving him an opportunity at that very moment because you've seen what you saw in that month of September from Acuna, maybe that's his spark. maybe him being comfortable there is his spark, and maybe spring training is not. Maybe him being up there is like, okay, maybe I'm comfortable. Maybe it's not about pressure for me. You know what I'm saying? Look at Vientos. When we went into the playoffs, everybody was talking about we don't know what we're gonna get from Vientos because pressure is a real thing. He didn't care about pressure. You saw how well he played. So maybe Acuna actually being there and taking a little bit of that experience that he got last year could help Acuna. So for Brett Beatty, for me, I think it's on both ends. I think it's a risk, and I think for me, I would rather start Acuna. If something does happen to Acuna where he is completely, cold and they can't get no momentum, on him, then get Brett Beatty up here, see what you could do now early in the season, and you could take that risk and see what you could get until McNeil comes back. But again, I think they can take that risk now with us starting the season, and then you can determine depending on how Jeff McNeil comes back and what switches you want to make and stuff like that. So we'll definitely see. I do want to talk about, as you know, we're getting into conversations of question marks, the situation with Francisco Alvarez. Now that hit hard, and it hit hard for multiple reasons, just because of, number one, our fandom with the kid, how much we love and appreciate the kid, how much heart he puts in on the field, how much he vibes with everybody. An injury is an injury, and yes, he's going to be out for a while, but what people don't tend to realize, and not you guys are not the people that we talk to on a daily basis, but there are people, we have social media. We're looking at comments every single day. We're looking at certain things that are every time. Certain people are always talking about, hey, when he comes back from injury, he's gonna be better. He's gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? My thing is this, and I don't want to be negative. I was saying that I think Francisco Alvarez is gonna have a tremendous year because he took all the stuff that he was doing last year and his struggles at the plate, and he was able to learn from that. He's coming into the season and he's gonna mash. We don't know what Francisco Alvarez we're gonna get after this injury, and that's the part that really stings with me and it's not his fault. Injuries are injuries, but you don't know what you're gonna get from a Francisco Alvarez with this injury. Now, you can go again. You can definitely use your second option that you have with this dude. I had a brain fart. I forgot. Oh my god. Excuse me. What's this dude's name?
Terrence.
There we go. Terrence. Luis Terrence. Obviously, you have that option. What do you guys think is gonna happen within the catcher's position? Do you think they're gonna call up? I don't want to say it, Kevin Parada. I know everybody doesn't like
Oh,
Kevin, but it's like
bro, that's
you think
that's that
you
guy's
think
not even on the list. He's not even on the
he's not even on
paper
the
when
list.
you see a
Yeah.
list. He's not even. I don't even think he's been in the back of their mind.
You guys, so you think you guys think Luis Torrens is secured until Francisco Alvarez comes back?
Yeah, I think
Oh, he's
Torrens
gone.
is going to be the starting catcher. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think it's going to be a battle for the backup position. The Mets could potentially wait for one of these catchers that is just like an invite to spring training to get cut and maybe pick somebody up be as a potential backup. But I think the Mets aren't going to be making any major trades or signing anybody like starting caliber. I don't think, anyways, at this point. I think Torrens can handle his own too, so I'm not really worried about him defensively or calling a game. I think it's more so like the offense. Um, Again, my concern with Torrens and his placement and everything kind of falls with the same thing that happened to McNeil. I'm more worried about the bottom of the lineup just falling off a cliff, and then our lineup becoming very top heavy. Torrens, if he's there as a defensive guy, I'm good. As a guy that calls a game, I'm good with him there. I just don't want the bottom of the lineup to suffer because we have those two big injuries down there. And then, Siri coming off a year where he hit under 200. You just want to have consistency throughout the lineup, and you don't want to have any holes, especially back to back. So the Mets are going to have to figure out a way either to keep Torrens fresh, which means giving him maybe, I don't know, since he's normally a backup, maybe giving him 3 games a week and then like spelling him 2. But who our backup catcher is, and if they have any type of clue as a hitter, it remains to be seen. So I don't know what they're gonna do, but just make sure that whoever it is is able to at least call a game and do what they need to do. But I think that the Mets will wait to see who gets cut. I mean, we've seen the names out there that are possible, like a Grandal. I even heard Nittle's name called up, but I think if anything, I don't need to see Nittle come back. I think I'm good there. I would give one of the guys on minor league deals with us a shot before I brought him back. Like I just don't see the upside in that move at all. So we'll see.
Amish?
Yeah, I agree with AP. Really, I don't see them going any route other than Terrens as a starter. As far as who's the backup, I don't think it matters. They're just going to throw any scrub in there, not other than Parada. Parada hasn't proven he can do anything on a level to make it to the majors at this point.
Right.
He would have had to have had like an outstanding spring to even like put his name in the conversation, and that didn't happen. So yeah, they'll roll with Terrens, and I think Terrens proved last year like he can handle himself enough, and he knows the pitching staff for the most part. Obviously, there's a couple new guys, but most of the guys he's familiar with. So I like his defense back there, and that's what at this point that's what you're looking for. You're looking for defense more than anything at this point. You're not going to get a bat on Alvarez's level. My concern though with Alvarez is we know the talent is there, right? But we've seen plenty of careers derailed by the injury bug. And it's starting to creep in people's heads. Like, this guy's injury prone. Can he stay on the field? If he can't stay on the field, I feel like he can get that consistency and he can be a monster.
Amish, not to cut you off, but that goes back to my point.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to bring the negativity with the injuries, but you got to ask yourself, this guy, when he gets hurt, he ends up going into a cold spell that he can't come back from. We've seen it way too many times. At some point, if you're Carlos Mendoza and you're David Stearns, you got to ask yourself, if we can't get this kid in a different type of consistency going forward, what the hell are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying?
Top to add to that is the fact that he gets injured so much, creating this lack of consistency. He came into camp this year with a new batting style because his last one was just not working for him. So it looked like he went to JD Martinez and asked him like, yo, my mechanics are off, what should I do? So he brought that to camp, and now he gets hurt. And what are we going to get when he comes back? This up and down with him has been too much. And I don't know if it's going to be a situation where eventually they're going to have to think about, are we going to move him off the plate? But where would you put him? Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with him.
And that's the problem. He's got really nowhere to go. Like, I mean, unless you're going to say, screw it, DH him full time. I mean, that's a possibility, but not likely. But the thing is with him, it's all about consistency. If he can stay healthy, I think he can find the consistency. But if he can't, he's gonna keep having these ups and downs because he's proven like he needs the reps. He needs to be out there. But when he can't get a flow going because he's hurt every other month, it's a problem. And hopefully it's not a long-term problem. Maybe we've seen guys have their injury bugs and then get right. Like, I mean, Nemo's hurt a little bit now, but Nemo had years there where he wasn't playing that much, and then he finally found it. He's been playing 150 games a year. So we've seen guys be able to get healthy, but we need to see Alvarez do it. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy, and it's a concern for sure because it's not like we have another guy right there waiting in the wings. We got a bunch of scrubs really. So,
and the fact that it's the position that he plays too. It's like the position that he plays too adds to that too, because you're getting beat up all the time as a catcher, right, Amish? So I feel like what you said is 100%, and I get a little nervous about how are we gonna get this kid consistent? How are we gonna get him consistent with a position that is prone to you're getting beat up every day, so you have to basically play hurt most of the time. And I'm under the belief that last year he was playing with the messed up thumb all year. He had to tolerate the pain, I guess, because he just wasn't swinging the bat the same, and it just looked like something was off. So what are we gonna what Alvarez are we judging? Like, are we judging the guy that's trying to play through pain, but it's not you're not seeing the numbers that you thought that you would see? Like, I don't know what to make out of him. And now this happens, he's gonna miss at least until mid May. So then what are we gonna get when he comes back?
Yeah, and my concern is that it's the hand injuries. Like it's constantly the hand. It'd be one thing if it were different injuries here, but it's like he's getting hurt in the same spot. Yeah, it's different things, but it's like, man, what's wrong with your hands that you can't like? You just
Right. No.
can't
Right.
keep it
Right.
healthy, man.
You're gonna have to ban the
Scary.
oven, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Listen, David Stearns, and Steve Cohen. They're gonna have to make a decision. They're gonna have to see what's going on with that kid, man. It's
Well,
something that not everybody talks about. So shout out to Amish for bringing that point up because I was kind of alluding to that. I mean, Jay Fern says it. He says shout out to Keith. Amish is opening up that uncomfortable conversation about Alvi. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
he
true.
know because Amish know.
It's true. It is.
Because Amish
For
know.
real?
Shout out to our villain in the chat. We see you. He says Beatty gets a short leash. I absolutely agree. Motherfuckers are walking a nice comfortable line with Brett Beatty because he's hitting. If Met fans know, bro, Met fans know there's no excuses for the kid. I'm sorry, he's playing a whole brand new position. You're big. What it's looking like to me is they're trying to find a way to keep giving him opportunity after opportunity. That's what it seems like to me. Instead of looking at Cunha and saying, "Hey, listen, right now you're struggling in spring training, but you showed a lot of potential last year. We're gonna give you that opportunity." No, they're like, you know what, Brett Beatty. Here's another opportunity for Brett Beatty to once again show himself. But it's like he's gonna get his throat cut if he goes cold again and they send him back down. It's like at some point, where does the accountability hold? So he says, I hope Alvi doesn't start hitting like Parada. No.
Yeah, Marvin.
No.
I see no, Papa. I see no.
You know,
Yeah.
I think Parada really. There's a couple of things in terms of the organization that I've noticed that kind of set the organization a little bit back. Parada was supposed to be like that, like short thing hitting catcher that like would either be the backup or maybe be able to be moved to another position, but his bat was supposed to be can't missed on that. Then I think the Kumar Rocker situation set the Mets back too because they didn't have that starting pitching rookie that they were looking for that they could have brought in like a short thing. Those two minor league situations that happened there, like I think they did do a disservice to this team because we have no depth at catching right now. Our starting pitching in the minors is starting to take
Well,
shape now, but it's taking a little bit of time to form. I just wish that those things would have hit, but hey, that's them's the breaks. But in terms of Alvarez again, I think we're going to have to see more consistency, but the Mets are going to have to figure out a way to keep him healthy. And how you do that, I don't know. I don't think that there is a. It's tough to keep a catcher healthy. Like, and that's why you appreciate certain people. Like you appreciate a Mike Piazza because Mike Piazza played that position, and he played almost every game that you could think of. The fans used to get mad that the Mets used to take him out on Sundays. I still remember that. Like they were like, "Oh, no Mike Sundays," but Mike played the majority of his games. I'm seeing Amish is doing
I
a
knew
quick
Amish was
turnaround.
coming. Yeah, I knew.
I
All
saw
right,
that.
I was
I
like,
saw it
"What
was
is going
coming.
on?" But
I saw
yeah,
it was
no,
coming.
yo, if you think about it,
That was my favorite player, man.
Piazza put up a plus 300 average, hit over 30 home runs and 100 RBIs, and he did it consistently. And you have to think about like he was getting beat up all the time. So for him to put up those numbers, play in the games, and do that after also getting beat up and bruised, like yo, that makes his run even more incredible to me.
I mean, again, going back to the Francisco Alvarez conversation by saying even MEZBX said he's too young to give up on he's too young to give up on Alvarez as a catcher. I understand that, but business is business, and at some point, if this hand injury lingers to the point where it's going to be a detriment to his career, and he's not going to be the same power hitter or the same hitter that we've been accustomed to seeing, at some point, it's like, when do you start making that uncomfortable move of trying to, do something with him? You can't. You don't want him to be a piece that's going to hold you back in that spot, because who else do you have? It's not our fault that Billy Epler saw something in Kevin Parada and nobody else did, and he shit the bed. Whose fault is that? It's not our fault. So we got to deal with a young guy in Francisco Alvarez, who, again, a tremendous and phenomenal player, but injuries like that can hold him back.
But
So again,
well, I'm glad you brought that up, top, because I'm trying to I was trying to let you guys know that
mhm,
I think the backup guy. I mean, he's not on the 40 man, but
mhm,
watching what I saw from this kid, and he's an older guy and everything, but
mhm,
Singer,
mhm,
Singer, I think
mhm,
his name is.
mhm,
He's impressive. He's impressive with the glove. I'm not saying with the bat, but he's impressive with the glove. And if you're gonna be a guy that position, look, listen, we're spoiled because a catcher's position is not supposed to give you offense. And so far in the first year, going to the first year, we had that in Alvarez, at least with the home runs. Then he took a step back, the injuries and everything. I get that. He's still too young. I'm not gonna ride the ship on him yet. But I, we're spoiled in that aspect of it. So the way I see it is, you call him, you get this Jaden Singer guy, give him a shot, and you go with two defensive catchers. That's just the best way. Remember, the Mets' problem last year, biggest number one problem was holding down the run game. As soon
mhm.
as Torrens came into the game to the team, everything changed. Pitchers started pitching
Right.
better. Pitchers started holding down runners more. Runners wasn't stealing as much. Runners wasn't even trying to steal no more. So those things are big for the team. Like, we don't need a guy that's gonna hit home runs in the catcher. It would be great. Don't get me wrong. I was excited for it. I'm like, yo, this guy's gonna get hit 30 plus this year. I mean, I don't think he's gonna do that, but very unlikely now. But when he comes back, let the kid take his time and everything. And if the injuries keep happening with his hands, you're right. Matt's gonna have to come up with a decision on how to keep this kid's hands healthy, because it's already. This is not just in the last 2 years. He's had
Mhm.
this same injury in his hand, even I think in his minor league days, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had an injury for his hand sometime in his minor league career. But it's unfortunate.
Mhm.
Let the kid. What I don't want the kid is to rush back like he did last year, because last year he clearly was rushing back, and he wanted to do more than he was supposed to. He wanted to be the hero. He wanted to be the guy that everybody thought he was gonna be. This year, you got Juan freaking Soto and Lindor. You don't gotta do anything else. There's a lot of more other guys that can do the job. Just be yourself. Take your time. When you feel that you're good enough to come back, you come back. Take your time. Don't rush, and try not to go for a home run every at bat. That's his problem. He made these changes to his swing. I personally think he made his changes to his swing because it was the injury to his finger was probably bothering him, so he wanted to
Mhm.
change that up so it won't bother him again. I
Mhm.
personally feel that way. I could be wrong, but whatever he's doing to that swing, I just need him to just go with the pitch, take his time, and don't try to hit 3-run homers when there's nobody on base. Like, just chop down your swing. But other than that, I think that's the route they're gonna go. I think that's the
Yeah.
best route they're gonna
And Chris, like when you said that 3-run home run when there's nobody on base, that's definitely what he was doing. But we
go.
actually
Every time,
got
bro.
we every single time. But we actually got some good news too. Like I don't want everybody thinking it's like doom and gloom.
Yeah, I
We
was
Oh,
got
gonna
no,
get
no,
to
no.
that. I was
we
gonna
we
get to that.
got some
You gotta start
amazing
negative first,
pitching
and then let's
news,
build
right?
up.
Yeah, well, going back to the newspaper, as you see right here, opening day report, ladies and gentlemen, Clay Holmes will be the 2025 opening day starting pitcher for the New York Mets. Man, how do we feel about this? Personally, I'm excited. I'm excited. You're talking about taking a guy who a lot of people made fun of us for signing as a starting pitcher, and you're saying, "Yo, lead the way, kid. Lead the way. Show us what you got as a starter." and I'm liking it. I'm liking the guts. I'm liking the confidence from Carlos Mendoza to go with Clay Holmes, man. This is I'm excited. I'm excited for him. I know he's probably gonna be a little bit nervous. You know, you can't be. You know, opening day, you're the one taking the ball for the first game of the season. How can you not? But I'm excited. What do you guys think? I'll
I was
start
gonna say
with AP.
I was gonna say, and like Amish, Top, and Chris, you don't think that this is a crazy world? We just signed this guy like out of the blue. Like we were like, oh, we're getting a top piece for our bullpen. Nah, we're signing him to be a starter. Everybody said what? And now he's gonna be the starter, opening day starter. Now, in the grand scheme of things, the opening day starter at the end of the year don't really mean anything because the last couple of years we've seen opening day starters that we probably don't even remember.
Shout out
Last
to
year was
McGill. Shout out to McGill. Always
McGill.
stay
McGill
consistent.
had that crazy
The
start
nine
in
line
Washington.
McGill.
You had Quintana last year start. Like these are the things that you probably don't even remember. But because it's like the first game, whatever. Like right now, we're putting up a lot of importance too. But he's been hell of impressive. Like that I think he calls it jump curve ball. A change up that he does.
It's
That
a kick
thing
changeup.
is the what?
The kick changeup. That's
The
what they
kick
call it.
changer. There you go. Because I seen it looks like he's like jumping when he throws it, but it's insane how effective that pitch is, and it's I think that he has potential to be good as a starter. I think that that it's just exciting to see because he's been this so far in spring training. He's been the best pitcher that we've had going there. So, it's the kick curve. He's saying
The kick curve.
kick curve.
I
All right,
thought there was a
you
kick
got
in there
the.
somewhere.
He's doing something with the kick. He's jumping, doing
Yeah.
some karate thing. Yo, keep doing it. Karate chop your way to the top. I just need you to stay consistent, and that's what I need. But like, it's been hell of impressive. Like his conversion from going like 1 inning whatever to being able to max out at 3 innings at this point to like slowly getting him to 4, and he's pitched over 50 pitches. It's just really cool to see, and if he could do that throughout the entire season, that just bodes so much better for the Mets because now you legitimately have 4 pitchers that could get you deep into a game, could keep you into a game, give your team a chance, and then you don't even know what you're going to get from the 5th starters. But if they could contribute anything close to that, then your pitching staff is looking great. I know spring training is spring training. I'm not gassed up or anything, but the team right now with the best ERA in all of baseball in spring training is the Mets. So that, especially with what we've been thinking about with their pitching staff and everything, is pretty cool. It's really cool to see that so far they're having some success with it. So Clay Holmes, I'll be looking forward to see what he does against the Astros and what he brings to the Mets all season long, especially with that surprise signing and what it's looking like it could potentially be.
Mish?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not be somewhat excited about Clay Holmes after what we've seen from him this spring. But we got to remember it is spring. Like, you never know. He could turn around and not be that great in the regular season. But I don't know. I think given the history of some of these relievers that have turned starters recently, we've seen it go pretty well. And considering Jeremy Hefner is our pitching coach, and we've seen some of the magic that he can do, and the magic that the pitching lab can do, I think this is going to go well for Clay. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying he's going to be an ace, but we also got to remember he is transitioning, so he's going to have to somewhere they're going to have to manage his workload. He ain't going to give us like 200 innings. Like you got to temper our expectations there with how much he can pitch. But if he can do half of what he's done in the spring, like I think we're in solid shape.
Right.
You just gotta stay healthy, man. It's about health. Like we didn't get anything out of Senga last year. If we can get him to stay on the field and be consistent and be somewhat like he was in his rookie year, we can get Minaya back, and we've got some good news about him recently. Like it's not that rotation that has like the big studs that everybody's jumping up and down for, but it can be a very good rotation if things break the right way. Like I think we get clowned a little bit by other fans from other fan bases about our rotation, but I don't think it's really that bad when you really think about it. There's far worse rotations in baseball out there. Like, but yeah, man, we just need the guy to go out there and do his thing. The fact that he's been able to develop a few more pitches is nice because obviously you can't go out there throwing 2 pitches as a starter. We all know that.
Mhm.
So it's been good to see. Like I there's nothing I've seen this spring that says, "Damn, this was a mistake." Like, but we also have the keep in the back of our mind. Say for whatever reason, knock on wood, it doesn't go well. He can go back to the bullpen. Like
Mhm.
that is an option. So like
Absolutely.
that's a little like card you got up your sleeve that if things aren't working out, you can move them. So you have some flexibility there, and that's what Stearns he's shown he loves. He values flexibility, whether it be on the field, whether it be in the rotation, whether it be in the bullpen. He wants guys that are flexible. He wants to give this roster room to breathe and be able to play around and do different things. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I just want the season to start. Like that's just
Me
where
Oh
too.
man,
I agree
we
with you,
always.
bro. I really do. Chris?
Oh, Clay. What can I say about Clay? I gotta say his things is filthy. I've been when I watched him in the when you watch a play from another team, you don't really watch. Last year when I
Right.
saw him in the playoffs, I said this guy's disgusting. Little did I know, because all I heard was their fan base, the other fan bases, had frustration with him and everything. I was like, how this man is filthy. But fast forward till now, and he's a starter now, and now that he's developed these pitches, and these pitches that he's developing, it's just not no regular pitches. Like when you see the movement on these pitches, it's absurd. Like it's not normal what he's doing. Like and I gotta give him kudos to him because the moment he signed with the Mets, he said he was already as soon as the season ended for him last year, he was already working on trying to be a starter. That was his goal. So when Stearns had that conversation with him and everything, he signed with the Mets. He was already 10 steps ahead of everybody else. He was already developing all these pitches. He's been throwing the changer for quite a while now, since last year, he said, and the four seamer. So now he has a cutter too. So now he's working on these pitches, and now he signs as a starter. Now he knows mentally what he got to do, and he's been ramped up. Like if you notice, his first outing, he already had 50 pitches. Was because he was already more advanced than everybody else because he was
Hmm.
working himself for it. And I got to give him kudos for that. Like if this man is already doing that ahead of time, I like Amish said, they're gonna have to control his inning because from going to 70 pitches to 150, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, though. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. But if he can prepare himself to at least give us 140, and if you could get to that 150 mark, we've hit gold with him.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I think the best part about it is that he's got the stuff. And I think that's one of the things that as a reliever, when you're limited to maybe like 1 or 2 pitches, and you get him as a starter, he's able to expand his pitch mix, and you see how confident he looks. I think that gets you excited. That gets you excited because now what they're doing is there's so much to look forward to. You're taking a guy, like I said, coming out of the bullpen with a bigger pitch mix now, and you're putting him as your number one starter for opening day. Like there's so much anticipation that's coming out of that you how can you be upset? You can't be upset at that. Like I have to give him so much credit for what he's done, the transitions that he's been able to do as a pitcher, the workload that he's been able to take, certain workouts, being in the pitching lab. I'm sure Jeremy Hefner has been giving him tips and adding a pitch to his pitch mix. Like there's so many things that could go well for Clay Holmes in terms of a starter. I mean, again, a couple months ago, we were just joking about the Mets being interested in him. And, if the Mets do get him, can they put him as a starter? All of a sudden, rumors start coming around, and then it happens. Again, we were waiting for this for a while. So I'm excited. Shout out to Clay Holmes, man. Shout out to Carlos Mendoza. Shout out to David Stearns for really
Yo,
putting their.
You got to put some respect on that Hefner name, man. Hefner has done some things that like we have not seen the Mets be able to do prior. So there's a reason why the man has been able to stay here and withstand some of these coaching changes and everything, because he sees something and he's able to get the best out of all his pitchers. So he's doing his thing, man. So he's made me a believer. Like I was
Oh,
like, what are
AP,
we
and now
doing
that
with
you
some of
say
these things?
that,
But he's putting in that work. Whatever the Mets are
AP,
doing in that pitching lab, keep doing it, because we're starting to see some of those results. I mean, if you look at that pen now, like the pen to me is probably the best pen. I think I've talked about this last week, but I really do believe this. This Mets pen right now has the potential to be the best pen that the Mets have had in God knows how long. We have Diaz at the end. We have AJ Minter, who just came back. We have Nunez that's coming closely to getting back. We have Stanek. We have Reed. We have from the left side,
Budo.
we have Budo, the long man. We have Cabrera, I think, has a shot to fight to be the second lefty over there. You have Kranick. Kranick has been the surprise of the entire spring training to me. Like, I think if you add that that to the mix as well, you have the makings of having starting pitching that maybe could go 4.5 innings and then pitch you lights out throughout. And I think that that's something that if you looked at the teams that have won consistently in the playoffs, it's been teams that have good offenses and really good shutdown bullpens. It's been like that since the 90s. If you have a shutdown bullpen and you can score some runs, you have a shot in October. And I think the Mets right now look like they could give themselves a real shot.
I'm
Yeah,
glad you
so
brought that up, AP, about the bullpen. I mean, about the bullpen, because going back to Clay Holmes real quick, if Clay Holmes works out, and I'm not saying he'll be Cy Young. I mean, I wish he would. Yeah, oh, let him be Cy Young. I'm not gonna be mad about it. But let's say it works out for him, right? What, 3 ERA or whatever. Let's say it works out. You know how this changes the whole future of the Mets. Now pitchers that want to convert into starters that can actually try to do it, and the Mets have that success doing it, bro. We're gonna be in a good spot. Like, players are gonna want to come to us to try to pitch for us, and we don't even gotta spend that top dollar for those starting pitchers, and we could develop pitching and we could fix pitchers, bro. We'll always be in a good spot. And if the owner, which clearly he's shown that he's gonna keep spending on positioning players, and we're developing our own pitching and fixing pitchers that nobody really wants, we're in a good spot.
who do you guys think? And you guys we can start off with Amish. Who do you guys think is gonna like besides Clay Holmes? We take Clay Holmes out when everybody's healthy, including Frankie Montas. Who do you guys think besides Clay Holmes is that X factor? Actually, you could take out
Mm.
Shamanai out of that too, because Shamanai, we know what he is, but there's still question marks in terms of Kodai Senga, a second year David Peterson, and a Frankie Montas. So out of those three, who do you guys think could be an
I
X
got my
factor?
answer.
I'm I'm
I'm
shocked on
curious
this
what
name's
Amish
coming
is.
out of my mouth, but I gotta say David Peterson.
Thank you.
I was saying the same thing. I
We
was
will all think the same.
we think alike. We all think alike because I was saying the same
I
shit.
said I got my
Yo,
answer. That's
Yeah,
what...
like the way he pitched last year. He's obviously always been inconsistent, but I feel like he found something last year. I don't know why. He just feels that way, and he's
right.
even this spring he's looked solid. He looks comfortable out there. He doesn't look like he's like there were years at the start of his career where at times he'd look he almost reminded me of Steven Matz. He'd like look
Mm.
dominant and then he'd like be lost, man. And I was like, what is wrong with this dude? Like he felt like a head case to me, but he's finally starting to settle down. And I think like if he continues in that trajectory, like we got to remember this guy was a pretty big draft pick. Like he's not some slouch. Like
He was a first rounder, right?
Yeah, they believed in this dude. So I don't know, man. He lefty arm. I think he can really bolster this rotation. I really like what he's got, and yeah, he's my guy. Senga, listen, Senga. I know why you would put Senga in that category, but he didn't pitch all last year. But I think people forget just how good Senga was his rookie year.
Right.
Like the man was a legitimate Cy Young candidate. Like
Right.
the dude
Absolutely.
was phenomenal. So I think Senga, he's just gotta. He says it himself. Like I think people are freaking out a little bit about his spring, but he's working on things. Like he's one of those pitchers that's just constantly working on crap. And I don't think you can put that much stock into what he's doing this spring because it's obvious. Like he's trying to find something there, and he's just tweaking things. Like I think when
Right.
we see him in actual game action, like I think he's gonna be straight. Like, but as far as like a guy that we've had issues with, like I think Peterson's gonna step up this year. I really do.
Right. That just only reason why, and just to your point, the only reason why I put Senga in that category is because again, we haven't with the injuries, we didn't see him basically get to where he was in 2023. So we would obviously like to see a little bit of it. And I feel like he was on that when he came back and he was making in his first game back before he obviously suffered that injury. He was dominant. Like he was in the
Oh,
zone.
I was
It was
there.
good to
I
see
was
him back.
there.
I remember Chris was telling me, Chris was like, yo, stop. Before he got that injury, everybody was behind him. He was getting ovation after ovation. And then you could hear a pin drop when he got hurt, when he went down. Like, it just, again, I think he was on that roll. People kind of kill him. Again, on social media all the time, people kind of kill him for the start that he had in the playoffs. I kind of give Mendy that a little bit because I would have started with Manaya. I didn't feel comfortable putting a Kodai Senga, who number one has never pitched in the playoffs. He's coming back from injury, and you're throwing him in a game one situation. That's kind of absurd to me. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand it when he did it against LA. LA's LA. I'm not trying to kiss ass. The Dodgers are a freak of a lineup. You say what you want about them. We hate them. You got to give credit where credit is due. That lineup can hit. So when you're getting a guy in there that has all the pressure in the world because he's in the NLCS and he's pitching game one against the Los Angeles Dodgers, I didn't expect him to be fucking Jacob deGrom in his prime. I didn't. And so people were kind of upset about that. And I was just like, why are you upset about that? You should have lowered your expectations. If anything, if there's a blame you want to put, I love Mendy to death. But if there's somebody you want to put blame on, you put it on Mendy because he should know better. But again, I know people have their.
I want to jump into this Peterson thing. You started seeing this change in him last year in certain situations. You started seeing with the Yankee game when you had man on second and third, I believe, no outs, or it was the bases loaded, no
No, his
outs,
bases loaded.
and he got out of the whole thing with no runs. I think something clicked. And when you said that thing about Jacob deGrom, that and funny enough, same team against the Dodgers in 2015 when
Good point.
DeGrom went game 5, and you could tell he didn't have his best stuff, and he was able to, like a warrior, go through that team and keep the Mets in it, and the Mets were eventually able to win that game and move on. I feel like Peterson went through kind of like I don't know what it was, like a baptism through fire this year, where it's like, yo, nobody believed in you, like you're coming back, and like something just says, okay, this is working, and he just took it to another level, and now I see him get in the games, and there's just something about him now that when he pitches, there's like this confidence that I personally didn't have, but I could kind of see it in him. He expects to do good.
Right.
Like it's like the expectation is like, I'm gonna shut these people out. And like when he gives up a run, it's almost like, oh man, he gave him a run. Like it's crazy how it switched like that. But I haven't felt like that like since DeGrom. So it's interesting that he's almost taken on that kind of level of like, and his ERA backs it up. Like the dude had an amazing ERA, sub
Yeah, man.
3. Like I think that he has the potential to take that into the season and continue building on it. I love the confidence. I love what I'm seeing out of him in this spring training. He doesn't look to have lost a beat. If he can stay healthy and just continue on this path, he might be the true like ace on the staff.
It's like Amish said, man. He's number one draft pick for a reason, man. He finally found his stride, man. I'm very proud of him, honestly. For somebody that kills him, for somebody that was always sucking my teeth every time he came in to pitch. I'm very proud. Like you gotta understand, these guys are human beings. And these guys probably don't go on social media, but they look at their numbers and they look at their struggles and they know at players, yo, what do I have to do to change this inconsistency that I'm going through? It was year after year where he couldn't find no consistency. He was always struggling. He was always giving up the long ball at the worst time. For him to come in last year like he did, to pitch a hell of a season and then come in to the playoffs and not only pitch when it mattered, but when Carlos Mendoza called him out of the pen, he was lights out. You're talking about a guy that was trusted almost every game like that. I have to tip my cap. I have to show him so much respect, and that's how you win a fan base. That is how you win a fan base. And again, he wasn't liked for a lot. So for him to have the year that he had, and for him to really bounce back like that, I really, really am looking forward to David Peterson again this year, and to see what he learns because you never know, man. Him and Clay Holmes could be having conversation, and then you're talking about a number one and two dynamic duo that could be on fire. That's a duo that nobody was talking about. That could honestly blow the roof off of this season if those two continue the success that they're showing right now in spring training. That's going to be a talk of the town.
Oh, I agree with that. I
Hmm.
agree. If these two pitched away, like Peterson, man, his confidence giving me confidence. Like anytime
Yeah,
I see Peterson with the ball, I know he's gonna shove. He
yeah,
proved
man.
it in the last year, and then shout out to him getting healthy. Remember his hip? It must have been his hip.
Yeah, yeah,
There's no coincidence that all of a sudden he gets this hip injury, and all of a sudden he's pitching lights out. 'Cause remember when he came up in the beginning, when he was a rookie, he pitched pretty well. I was like, oh
yeah,
man, we got this
yeah.
coming up. And then he
Hmm.
started struggling and struggling, and obviously the injury, and then he fixed that, and obviously it looks like that was the issue because this guy's he's lights out. He's lights out, man. Every time he pitches, it's like scoreless outings, it's one or two runs, and it's give me the ball. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna throw my pitches, and like there's nothing else I can say. Like he truly is could be our number one ace. And guess what? He's young enough to get a nice little extension with the Mets. Ain't gonna cost much, and keep him here. You want to be the ace? Guess what? Pay him to be the ace, and guess what? He stay in the rotation. Senga's here for another what 3 years.
Yeah,
Clay Holmes is here for another 3 years. Then you start to form a bond here, and then you got these young kids coming up, the Sproats of the world, the Tidwells of the world, and I don't know, man. We could be in a very good spot. I know people like to crap on our rotation. We we ourselves we looked at it we're like I don't know. There's a lot of ifs, but didn't we say that last year?
we
Didn't
did.
we say that last
We
year?
did. We were giving
We
the
said there was a
rotation a
lot of
lot of
ifs.
shit, man.
There was a lot of ifs. And granted, it wasn't roses. Like in the beginning of them, it was dog shit. But something clicked as soon as that run went on. These guys were lights out, and kudos to all of them. Whatever they were doing, just keep doing it. Just go out, make your pitchers stay as healthy as you can. And this offense, like I said, this team is built on offense. There's no way that a pitcher can you can feel confident that a pitcher gives up 3 runs in 5, 6 innings, and if they lose that game, it's on the offense. It's not on the pitching. Like this offense is built to score 4 to 5 runs a game at minimum. So kudos to these guys getting better, and Jeremy Hefner, man. I'm sorry to say, but we might lose this guy because this guy's that good, man. This guy's gonna get another job, like somewhere, maybe up in the rotate, I mean, in the organization as a GM or whatever the case is. But this guy's good, man. This guy's good. He didn't work out as a pitcher in the real major leagues, but he's damn good at whatever he's doing now.
They still trust him. We wanted him gone last year. I remember that feeling.
Stop. This man been through like 5 regimes and he's still
Yeah,
here, bro. Like
yeah, bro.
that says
They,
something. That says something.
they see something. They trust him. They trust his work with the pitchers. They trust, and it's not even that. It's probably pitchers that are telling them, yo, we like we like the conversations that we're having with Jeremy Hefner. We feel comfortable with him as a pitching coach. We feel like we connect. We feel like his stuff, his advice is helping us get better. So again, there's a reason why he's still here, because in 2023, everybody was coming for his neck. Everybody him wanted him gone. We talked about the batting coaches. Jeremy Hefner's time was up in terms of a relationship with the fans. And last year he's done a lot. He did a lot with a rotation that, to be honest with you, had no high expectations. And he turned that around. Look how that rotation. That rotation got Luis Severino the bag that he got. Let's be real. Like that 1 year, $13 million contract, I was looking at Luis Severino as a fifth starter in our rotation. Luis Severino turned himself into a number 2 in our rotation and got himself the bag that he got. I know it's Oakland, well, Sacramento now. I know it's the A's, whatever, but for him to get that money where it was kind of like, yo, is Sevy time up? Like, is this time up? It shows. It shows the successfulness of our rotation. So shout out to Jeremy Hefner, man, because they still appreciate it. Before we wrap up, there's one thing I gotta get to, and I think y'all know. Yeah, I think y'all know, and it's well deserved. I just want to talk about one man,
You
a
mean the lunar
specific
eclipse?
man, the
The,
the
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 lunar eclipse? That lunar eclipse
the
guy?
the
That
the
guy's
the,
going lunar
blo- the,
eclipse.
the bloody moon that came out.
You see it once
That
every 10 centuries or something like
so,
that.
okay. Well,
It's a rare
listen,
sight.
he hit another bomb today. He hit another bomb today, and it
He did.
wasn't no
Oh, I'm
regular bomb.
surprised.
It was a placata. It was a, yo, you can kiss my ass type of
Biggest move
bomb.
of the offseason. It's hammered out towards right field. Well hit. And that one is gone. Juan Soto. His 4th home run of the spring, and he gives the Mets a 1-0 lead.
Oh, here's something else.
That was a no-doubter off the bat of Juan Soto. Man, he's going to be fun to watch all season long.
He is the number 1 offensive player in the game.
Now, before we give our opinions on that beautiful swing, the best swing in baseball as of right now, let's look at his 2025 spring training numbers. 24 at bats. He has
Should have
an
known.
average batting average of
This is video
417.
games.
See, this is T-ball for him right now. That's the crazy part. This is T-ball for him. Wait till we get to the season. 4 home runs and an OPS of 1.462 with 8. I think it's eight walks. I think it is. Oh no, 8 RBIs. Excuse me. I messed up on that one. 8 RBIs. I didn't add it here. Still updating because of the game. But those are his numbers right now. Juan Soto is literally walking to spring training ballpark, and it's home run derby. It's literally home run derby and nothing. This shit. Listen, every time we talk about Juan Soto, the goosebumps just start coming up. They just start. I don't know what it is. I cannot wait till this brother goes to Citi Field and he gets the loudest standing ovation in Citi Field history. They are about to go bonkers for this guy. It's going to be amazing. What do you guys think about Juan Soto's performance so far? I'll start off with AP.
Yo, all I gotta say is that the guy is getting paid the most money in professional sports, and it doesn't seem like it's enough. Like, I just cannot believe this man is. It's just incredible, man. I've never seen a Met. It's like playing a video game. The only way I've gotten a Met to bat that high is playing in a video game, and I cheated probably. Like, this guy is just like, he's hitting 400. He's hitting bombs. He's even doing it with a little bit of cockiness too. Like, yo, oh, you want to throw that pitch again? Like, I'm like, yo, I don't think I can ever get used to this shit. And not to mention, like nobody right now is hitting at all in this lineup. Like, not a damn person's hitting. So I'm like, you're hitting 4,000 while everybody else is hitting like 10. I'm like, okay, well, if you're gonna have to be the one that leads us like through April, I guess, then so be it. I mean,
We might see a lot of that. We might see a lot of that this year.
This dude is not. His bat doesn't slow down, and like it's just insane. Like Like he doesn't take any like days off. Every time he's in there, it's like the Game 7 of the World Series. He's like trying to hit everything, even the singles that he gets. Like they just, it's almost like the ball wants to be a hit. Like he hit one that
Yeah.
brought in
Yeah.
Lindor today, and like the shit bounced like 30,000 times, but it still found a way to get through. And I'm like, keep doing it, keep doing it. Like it's going to be a shift. This franchise is shifting to eventually becoming his. Right now, it's Lindor's, and props to Lindor. He deserves the captaincy. But you could slowly start seeing where it's kind of like going to start shifting, where we're going to start seeing him become the biggest face of this team. His jersey's all over the place. Everybody's walking around with it, and rightfully so. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. So for the Mets to have one of the best hitters in baseball, I think that that's just an amazing thing. And I think that the Mets right now are in a position where they could really take advantage and really do some damage against some teams just by having the best hitter in baseball. We have one of the most prolific home run hitters in Alonso. We have one of the best overall talents in Lindor. Like you don't get that on every team. You have a dude coming off of a revenge tour that could potentially be one of the best third basemen in Vientos. Right now, the Mets are just throwing things at you that you've never seen from this team.
So the AP, real quick before Chris and Amish go. So before I started the setting up the live and everything, right? I'm on MLB the Show and I'm going to franchise or whatever, and I'm setting up my lineup. I had to literally put down my control and I had to just stare at my TV because of how nasty and dangerous this lineup could be. Just I'm gonna read y'all the left-handed. Well, I kind of have it the same way, but I'm gonna just read y'all the
If
right-handed.
you're listening out there, MLB the Show, Top gets his check. He's advertised your shit more than you advertise it. So you give that man his check.
They will get my check. I will get my check soon. But just let's look at this lineup: Francisco Lindor, Mark Vientos, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, Francisco Alvarez, Jesse Winker, Jeff McNeil, and Jose Siri. That's fucking nasty. That if this lineup performs to what it is,
I'm not gonna lie, that was half the reason why I bought this shit, because I was like, yo, I'm gonna have I could have a really good lineup on this team. I want to see what that looks like also in video games.
How about the lefty one that I had here? Francisco Lindor, Mark Vientos, Juan Soto, P. Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, Starling Marte as your DH, Jeff McNeil, Francisco Alvarez, and Jose Siri. There's no way. Listen,
there's no wrong way to write that lineup up.
No,
I think
there's not.
Like I said, man, I think that this lineup has a shot to be great, and he's at the heart of it. Like he's going to be in crucial situations. He's going to set the table early. He's going to be kicking ass in the middle of the game. He's going to be going up against your closer at the end. Like all these endless possibilities. And then think about how he helps people. He helps Lindor at the beginning see more pitches. He helps, if he's on base, he has Alonso there that's going to have people on base. It's just awesome to see him penciled in that lineup. Like I don't know, man. I haven't been like, and I keep going back to that man on Amish's jersey, but we haven't had an offensive juggernaut like that since like I'll give Beltran and Delgado their props. Got to give them that. David Wright, but like Piazza was like that like upper echelon type dude that Beltran is also, and Delgado is, like those type dudes. We haven't had that since Beltran left. I don't think that there's anybody that you could compare Juan Soto to on this team in the last at least 15 years. Last 15 years,
Probably.
because we haven't had that. The Mets went to the World Series with almost no one until Cespedes got here. And Cespedes isn't on that level of what Juan Soto was. So
he's on the board level.
Yeah, well, I mean, the wild board. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see where he could take this franchise. I just think that was one of the best signings the Mets have had, and he's paying dividends like right out the gate. So, ring the bell, start the buzzer, whatever you got to do. Let's get this rock. Let's get like this show on the road.
Before you go, I'm still trying to figure out what boat Juan Soto took to come from the Bronx to Queens. I just want to know who gave him that ride,
Here
who
we
he
go.
paid. I just
You can't help
want to
yourself.
find that
You
out.
can't help
Nah,
yourself.
I
Yeah,
can't.
he can't.
I really can't because I was getting laughed at all season. I was getting laughed at all off season. So I'm gonna take my jabs. Okay, the logical ones are in Florida right now. They're enjoying their vacation. So if they do see this, they'll take their jabs. But I just want to know. I really want. I heard some peeps that they found them in the Hudson River, just roaming around, just trying to find his way. Shout out to him. He ended up finding his way to Queens.
Amish has
That's
to
how you
wait
do
his
it.
turn to hear this rant. Like, I don't even understand that. Amish, just go ahead, man. Just go.
Amish don't know, yo. Amish does not know. I'm sure Amish got some of his jabs in there. He may not say it right now, but I'm sure he got his jabs. I'm sure he do.
Yeah, I don't even acknowledge the Yankee fans at this point.
Thank you, Amish. Thank
We
you.
only acknowledge the tribal chief in this podcast.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I don't think anybody's upset that we signed the generational Walker anymore, right? Like, I think we're good past
Nah.
that.
Oh, I thought that's another one. That's another one.
No.
I mean, the guy's just, he takes this lineup to another level. And the thing that I've noticed, and the fact that it's happening in the spring, like we saw it in the postseason and we even in the regular season, the way he gets in a pitcher's head during an at bat, like he just looks at them and shakes his head like after they throw a pitch, like, yeah, I know exactly what's coming next, and you can't stop me from doing what I'm about to do, and they can't. Like, it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter if it's spring, it doesn't matter if it's October. Like, the man just he doesn't see pressure. Like, the dude is just on another level, and that helps everybody. It just does. It helps Pete. It helps Lindor. It's gonna help Vientos. Hell, who knows? It might help Brett Beatty. What if Brett Beatty turns into the Vientos of 2025?
Oh,
What? This lineup would be.
Don't make me believe.
Absurd.
No, I don't want to believe it. I don't really want to believe it either. But
I don't either. But
that'd
be some gangster shit. I'm not gonna lie. I would be some gangster shit if that happens.
Yeah,
and one thing I want to add to all of this is, you know how people were like crying over the vibes that Jose Iglesias took with him when he left.
Here we go.
One of the things that we cannot forget when we talk about Soto, the dude is a walking vibe. Have you seen what that clubhouse is looking like? That dugout looks like it's party.
I was told from Andy Factino that he misses the Yankees.
Hey, he misses the
That's
Bronx.
that's what I was told. According to inside
nobody
reporter,
who's top line.
said why showing his face. You understand? I'm gonna just say this real quick. Do you understand how corny you have to be at that level of an insider, and you put that out there, and then you get mad when Mets fans try to correct you and try to go at you? Like, bro, I don't have respect for people like that. I'm sorry. That shit looks corny, man. Especially right after he's there vibing in front of the dugout with the rest of the teammates. Are you really gonna put that out there, bro? You really gonna start some shit like that?
Listen,
come on,
shout out to Stan. Stan said that Andy's missing his meds. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Soto said it best, though. It's about family, man. The Mets are a family, bro. It just is what it is. Even Pete, like, you saw, everybody was wondering like whether Pete coming back was gonna be awkward. And that went out the window.
Nothing happened.
Wait.
I'm glad to be back. Like, we're ready to roll. Like, it's just, I don't know. It just feels right. Like, this feels like it's gonna go well. Like, that could be famous last words on my part, but it just does. Like, there's a lot of years where we look at this team and go, man, this is just not it. But this ain't one of those years. Like, even with the injuries, you're like, all right, next man up.
Yeah.
Right.
I have confidence in
Right.
any of these guys stepping up. Like, even if it's not Beatty, I feel like Acuna's right there. Let's not forget, you got Mauricio waiting in the wings eventually. Obviously, he's not ready
Nobody
for
talks
a
about
while,
that guy.
Right.
but
Amish,
nobody's
let me
talking about him, but he's out there. You
Amish, let me
got
let me ask
guys.
let me ask you, when was the last time that you went into the season saying, yeah, they have this structured. Everything feels right. Like you said, like you don't have to worry even with the injuries. Like when was the last time you felt like that as a fan?
2006.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
mean,
bro.
let's be real.
1,000%.
2015,
1,000%.
2015, yeah, we made the World Series, but that team was utter trash
Oh,
until the trade deadline.
Yo,
Nah,
speak
John
on
for
Mayberry
that.
real,
Speak
for
Jr.
real,
on that.
John
for real.
Mayberry
We
Yeah,
Jr.
had
That's all I gotta
Lucas
say.
Duda as our main RBI guy
Yeah,
of
it
the
was
half the year.
nasty work. But yeah,
yeah.
2006 was the last time I remember going to a season going, man, this is a squad. Like, especially that
Mhm.
lineup. That lineup was out of this
The best one
world
I've seen.
nasty. And
Best
that's
one
the
I've seen.
feeling I get. Like this year, that's the kind of vibe I get. It's even a little eerily similar with the pitching, because the same thing was being said about the pitching back then. It was like, the pitching ain't great,
Yeah.
Right.
but the lineup is amazing. And
Right.
even if the pitching isn't up to par this year, like the lineup can carry us. Like I really feel like the lineup can carry us. And
That's crazy
we know
that you
Stearns
said
can
that.
make
That's
moves
such a
in
crazy parallel. Because I'm thinking about that '06 starting rotation of like John Maine and Steve Traxel, and you got like a Pedro Martinez.
Pedro that was aging already.
That
Glavine.
was the ace of the team coming off like the 2005 season that he had with. Wow, that's
Tom
that is
Glavine. Yeah.
Tom Glavine, who was just ass. But it's crazy. It's crazy bringing that up. Like I could see sort of similar parallels to that team. I could see that. That's
And that 15, that you bring up that 2015 team, Amish, because bro, it literally we came out of hell. I remember when we lost that series to San Diego, and everybody was like, oh, and we gotta face the red hot Nationals. Help me, Jesus. And they get the trade for Yoenis Cespedes, and they just went on a fucking tear. Like I didn't see that coming at all. I was like, what the fuck is this? I was
And
like,
that's
no,
the
there's
thing.
no way.
Cespedes is obviously nowhere near Soto's level, but he
Right.
played to that level.
He played like Soto.
Yeah.
He played like
From
Yeah.
the trade deadline through the end of the season, the man was like, you couldn't get him out. It was
Right.
insane. And he was
Right.
hitting bombs left and right, and he completely transformed that team. And they
Yeah.
went on a
Yeah, man.
crazy run, and it was fun, man. But the thing that makes me excited about this team and the organization and the way things look like they're going is that we can finally do this consistently. Like, it used to be you make the playoffs one year, then you don't see the playoffs for like 5 years,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
you have a magic run, then you go back in the toilet. Now it finally feels like we can see a team that's going to make the playoffs every year, and God willing, gives us a World Series finally eventually. But
Right.
at this point, I'm happy with I want to be in the postseason every year. Yeah, it sucks to lose in the postseason, no doubt. But being there every year is nice, man. Being able to have fun and go into October, and let's face it, it makes the offseason a little shorter to the more games.
Can I ask you something about
Right,
that,
right.
Amish? Because I'll ask all of you guys too, because I honestly want to get your opinion on this. It's weird. I don't know why. Last year, it took me a while to appreciate the year because for so long, it felt like the playoffs every night from like August all the way into like the end of it all. So it just felt like the highs, the lows. It was such a like emotion, like it was taking too much of a toll. By the end of the shit, I was like spent. Like Chris was like even saying like, "Yo, I'm like done." And like I just feel like when you get to the playoffs, it almost doesn't. I don't know if I'm weird, but it's like the nerves take over, and like I don't really fully get to enjoy it until after. Like if they win, I'm like, yeah, we did it. But then, like during the whole game, I'm like on the edge of my seat, like ready to like throw up at any
Oh,
moment. Like I'm like, I
Amish,
hate
you're also hearing it from a guy who literally walked out right before Pete Alonso smacked it out in front of Devin Williams. Like this
Yeah.
brother literally say, "I'm gonna just take my bag and I'm gonna go home because I ain't trying to see the end of this shit." And then all of
I
a sudden,
try to
Pete,
I
convince
don't
the
even
man to
blame
come
him,
back.
bro. I was ready to turn
I
off
don't
the
I don't feel any
TV.
type of way
I
about that, by the way.
cursed out
no,
Alonzo
AP,
so
you don't
bad.
have to. You don't have to. It's not it's not a dagger. It's
No,
just
I know.
it
I
shows.
just I when I tell you, and I'm 100% with this. With this team, I went through so much all the way from like I left them for dead. Like I was already like, yo, I could go live my life in the summer and not think about the Mets this year. To then be like, yo, don't suck me in if you're not gonna do shit. To be like, okay, we're competing. Then they lose against Oakland, and then they're blowing grand slam games against Arizona. And I'm like, yo, what the hell are we doing that whole time? And I'm like, then we lose Lindor, and then we got that double header in Atlanta. There was so much stuff going on that I went through all the things. And I walked back that whole thing in my head, and I just could not fathom the thought of all this stuff that had to happen for them to get to the point where they were going to possibly lose to Milwaukee. I couldn't see it. I didn't want to see it. I just couldn't see it end that way. Like I left the park. I had the game on. I just didn't want to be around nobody. Like I had the game on. I was listening to the game the whole time because that's just me. I'm a masochist. Like even though I said, "Yo, that's it," I still after I got on the train, I had the game on. I'm listening to it. I'm like, Pete, for the love of God, please do something. I'm praying. I'm like doing everything. And when he did it, whatever. But I still to myself, like reasonably, I just could not like believe that the season was gonna after all this crap that the season would end with that. But I like going back to my original point. I feel like the playoffs. Yes, they're exciting. Yes, they're like something you get up for. Yes, you're like pumping your chest, like yo, my team is here. We're going for it. I just feel like sometimes like it just isn't as enjoyable to me as I wish it was because it just like all day I'm nervous. I'm like, oh my god, if we don't lose, if we don't win this game, what's gonna happen? And then like you're going through 9 innings of torture and I'm like, yo, this isn't unless you're
But
blowing out a team or something, it doesn't always feel fun.
I love that feeling though, because you're
Yeah.
playing meaningful baseball, unlike everybody else who's sitting on their couch watching it. You know what I'm saying? We have gone through so much. It's crazy because from what we expected in 2024, playoffs were out of our. And the last thing in my mind, I'm gonna be real with you. We said, yo, if they make the wild card, hey, cool, I'll take it. And wherever this takes us, wherever this takes us. But the fact that they got there the way that they did, and then they go into Philadelphia and they're like, ha, jokes on y'all. Like y'all won the division, cool. Y'all didn't play better than us all year. We're better than y'all, and they beat them in the division series. Then they take the Dodgers 6 games. Like we forgot how that feeling was. We haven't had that since 2015. So to have that feeling, it's like, yeah, you're gonna deal with your heartbreakers in the playoffs, but you're in the playoffs. It's like, yo, anything can happen, and the goosebumps, the feeling, the everything behind that is just there. Like you love that feeling. So to Amish's point, it's like, yo, to build the team where you can have that every year, and then to make sure that you're set up to go win that chip and have that feeling. I sign up for it any day of the week. Any day.
But I signed up for it with the kind of like the Dodgers, like the way that the Dodgers did it. Like
I mean,
I'd rather
yeah,
be the Dodgers.
yeah.
You know, you could be either the Dodgers or you could be the Philadelphia Phillies. Think about how that fan base has to go through. We've made it,
Yeah.
and now it feels like we're falling into like
You
this
know why,
feeling
AP?
of shit.
Que me importa a mí what they going through.
Right, exactly.
But
Exactly.
here's the thing for me though, like I'd rather that nervous feeling, that feeling sick all game, like yeah, it sucks. At the same time, it is fun. Like to me anyway.
Yeah.
And I'd rather be in that situation than not be in it. Like, what's the alternative? The alternative is being home and
not watching it, just not watching anything.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
like I'm not gonna pick not being in the playoffs over stressing out in the playoffs. Like I'll stress out in the playoffs all day. It is what it is. Eventually,
I agree.
It ends with us on top, and all that stress will be worth it. But even if not, man, like even if it's just we make the playoffs 15 years in a row, like yeah, it would suck if in those years we don't win one at least. But I'm gonna be happy that we made the playoffs 15 years in a row because I've never seen that in my life. Like all I've seen is we
never seen it 3 times in a row.
Listen, that game against Atlanta, bro, in that last game against Atlanta to move us in, I know what it was. It was a game to get us into the playoffs. But you dream for games like that, where you're like, yo, I want to play a heavy game like that, where it determines like it puts our fate in a game in the hands of a game like that, and then on top of that, for it to be the one guy that they've built this franchise around, that they've built this core around, like this is the guy. This is Steve Cohen's first major move since he became the owner. For him to come out and be like, "Yo, I got you on my back. I'm gonna get us in this shit." Like you dream about moments like that, and we really haven't had moments like that.
No,
so
I'm talking about those moments.
Every year, I'll take the heartbreaks. Why? Because I know, hey, back at it next year. You know what I'm saying? Like
talking about those moments. Talking about those moments last year. Those are some of the moments that we're going to remember for the rest of our lives in terms of baseball. Like, if you think about it, as a Met fan, we haven't been in the playoffs often, right? But look at all those moments that you're going to always be able to kind of recall. Like, from last year, you're going to remember Lindor's home run against the Braves. You're going to remember Pete Alonso, except for me, I'll remember the radio call of Pete Alonso hitting the home run. You're going to remember
and my text.
That what?
His text.
And my text.
His
my
text.
phone call.
Yeah, and your text messages. What do you call it? You're gonna remember Vientos' home run that didn't win the game but tied it up. You're gonna remember the Mets beating the shit out of the Phillies in the playoffs. Like you're gonna remember all these different little things from that playoff run, and you're gonna sit there and be like, man, that's one of those like really happy memories that I remember from the Mets. Like these are things that like stay like in the vault, and you're kind of, like, and you could take from last year had so many like dope little runs in them that like the year after like everything was like after the disappointment settled and you were like in there in like November and you were thinking about the season, there was so many cool things that you got to take out of that. Like it's just I don't know. It was a crazy season that I feel like I didn't get to enjoy it because I was too emotionally invested at the time. But taking the step back and being like, yo, man, we had the OMG stuff. We had the Mets go to London and make the craziest double play I've ever seen in my life to end the game. We had freaking Diaz blow that grand slam game in Arizona, then come back the next day and close out the game. We had the Mets almost sweep San Diego in San Diego. There's just like the Mets taking 4 out of 4 against the Yankees. Like everything about that season was mad. And look at you grinning. You can't help yourself against the Yankees. But
the Yankees gotta go back.
About last season, like he says, his eyes light up like it's Christmas. But thinking about last year, no, but I mean, even that Yankee game that we won, where Diekman struck out Judge. Like that was one of the most craziest outcomes.
Oh my god! Yo, listen, I will buy myself a Jake Diekman jersey and give it back to him as a thank you. I swear to God. For that one moment, because everybody was imploding on the guy. It was
people that don't watch baseball are gonna think that you're just walking around with the Dykeman shirt, and they're just gonna be like, "Oh, there goes the Dyke man." I don't know.
He earned my respect that night because he threw a fastball down the pipe and basically said, "Yo, if I get him, I get him. If I don't, I don't." And Judge was completely fooled. And even though he's not here, that's a signature moment you can never forget. I'm sorry.
To your point about memories and how winning changes things, think about Daniel Murphy.
Oh yeah,
Daniel Murphy. If 2015 that playoff run doesn't happen, We don't talk about Daniel
Yeah.
Murphy.
No.
Like, nobody
Yeah.
gives a crap about Daniel Murphy.
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't.
But
We don't.
he went on that run, and he's kind of a little bit of a Met legend in our little circles.
Yeah,
of
he's
diehard
everywhere all of
fans.
a sudden.
Like,
He's everywhere all of a sudden.
or Wilmer Flores, another guy.
one. Yeah,
It
man.
doesn't really matter to anything. He wasn't that great. But because of 2015, and he cried because he thought he got traded and that whole thing. If 2015 ends up being a losing season, we don't talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
But because 2015 ended up with us in the World Series, these guys are always going to be remembered amongst us because of those moments. So winning changes everything. Like, it just changes the way the perspective. And it's just, on the other hand, Kenny Rogers. Nobody would think of Kenny Rogers as a Met.
Ball four guy. That's what I call him, ball four guy.
And end up being the biggest piece of shit ever in that game in Atlanta.
No, you're right. It's funny how you could your legacy. Your legacy changes, and I mean, I still remember Bobby Jones hitting the San Francisco Giants. So, and Bobby Jones,
and Agbayani's home run.
It's another one.
How about Todd Pratt's home run against Arizona? Like, all these people 99. That probably wouldn't remember ever.
Ballpark game.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
What this season taught me, is like, it's better not to put that much expectation on it because it's that much sweeter at the end. Like, if you put so much expectation to that, and I'm not saying, of course, I want to be a World Series, but if you think about World Series before you even pitch Game 1, you're gonna put yourself in a bad spot.
You turn into a Yankee fan.
Hey, thank you. I don't want to say it, but you see this guy let up his eyes right away.
I didn't have to say it. I told you, Amish had one in there. Amish had one in the clip, yo. Amish had one in the clip.
I just want us to enjoy and trust me, it's the most fun I had watching, even in the 2022. 2022, I was in that stressful. Yeah, I won every game because I bro, this year put me, like, going forward. I don't care what the Mets do, just make the playoffs. Because there's one thing that Amish says, and it's true. We can make the playoffs 15 times, but guess what? You can't do. You can't win a World Series if you don't make the playoffs. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. So that's out of 15, you like your chances. You know what I'm saying? But as long as you keep having success and you do at some point, luck is gonna break your way, and it's gonna be your year. It just happens that way. That's just baseball. That's just the way it works.
No, you're right, and I think it's like a lottery ticket. It's like a lottery ticket. If you don't buy the lottery ticket, you're not winning the lotto.
You're not gonna win the lotto.
The only way you can do it is you buy you get in.
Yeah, man.
It's the way you look at it. And with this season, listen, when I got to the playoffs, I was Game 3 when AP left. I was telling the guys, like Jay Fern, Top, I was telling the guy, yo, you know what? It is what it is. It was a fun season. We were not supposed to be here. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, Pete goes, I have no voice. And then I started throwing money signs at Pete. I started throwing money signs and everything. Because I
was giving grown man hugs. I was gonna say,
are the Mets playoffs before AP and after AP left? Like, is that how we're gonna
that's exactly how we're gonna look at it. I would never forget. This man literally stood up and said, "Bye, Top." I said, "Yo, where you going?" He goes, "I'm going home. I can't watch this shit."
AP, where you go? Yo, you finished the game. He's like, "No, I can't, Chris. I can't."
Chris looks at me. He goes, "Top, what did you say to him?" I said, "Me? What you talking about? He got
so many years of this abusive relationship. This team has abused me too much."
That's you're gonna have to win a World Series for AP to let.
100%. The Mets are gonna definitely have to win one in my lifetime for me to let go of all this pain.
What did I tell you, AP, when I called you? I said, I hope this is a lesson to be learned that you never leave a game ever again.
No, and I stayed the next game. To my credit, I stayed the whole 9 innings in Philly, and I was like, all right. And then they ended up doing it. They ended up.
I mean, AP, you should have knew better when I made you and your son stay until the
See, but
last
it's
out
your
of that
fault.
10-3
No, but
ass
that's
It's
whooping.
your
different.
damn
That's
fault.
different.
I stayed
No,
for that
but he
blowout
knew.
against
He knew.
Minnesota. That's your
He
fault.
knew.
The score was
You
like
want to know?
13-1. Come on, relax.
You
You
no,
did
but
the way of going
that
back.
yeah, but that's
That don't make
different
no
because
sense. I was gonna. I
you know
stayed
why
to watch
you know
that.
why it makes sense in that aspect because he kept asking me how do I stay even though we're losing 10-3, and I said because I wait till every last out. So if I could do it, you could do it.
What was
So
the
for
outcome
him
of
to
that game? What was the outcome of that game?
it doesn't matter. You still
Okay.
stayed.
Okay.
You still
I
stayed.
hope you
You
and
still
the two
stayed.
people that stayed for that blowout enjoyed. I got to
But
go
you
home.
still stayed though. You didn't
I
leave. You
left. I left
stayed.
like in the 6th inning or something. It was over.
I
The game
could have
was-
sworn you stayed, but that's
No, I
near
didn't
here
stay
or
until
there.
the 9th. My
At
son
the
wasn't
end of the
gonna make
day,
it. My son was gonna make it to that anyway. Like he was ready to leave after the 2nd inning. He had his food. He was ready to go home. That was
listen, at the end of the day, it just proves that AP, you can't leave no more, bro. You
okay.
gotta stay. You
All
gotta
right.
stay. You gotta stay.
Well,
But
now with Juan Soto, I think we have a shot in any game. So maybe
right,
maybe I'll stay. Like
right,
Oh
more
yeah,
of
exactly.
the
must
So,
watch
story.
TV.
More of the story
more,
is I shouldn't leave a playoff game in the middle of my
Hey,
feelings.
but
I'll just
listen,
sit there quietly.
AP sacrificed that moment so the Mets could win. So
There you
shout
go.
out to AP.
Secretly, I do believe that. Like I'm superstitious. I'm superstitious. I turn off games if they're losing because I feel like my energy's off. So I just listen, and when they win, I'm like, "See, it was
I
me."
mean, hey,
So those are the
I
things
guess
that I'm
I guess you gotta
I'm
go through
very
the same route.
There
I
you
guess
go.
you gotta
So
go through the same route.
next time that happens, I may just leave and then just like if they win, be like, see, it was me. So I'll take more credit if that happens.
I guess yeah. I listen. I won't blame you one bit. But we're gonna wrap it up here. We appreciate our guy Amish for joining on as a special
Amish,
guest.
it
Yo,
was great
Amish, you
seeing
gotta
you
make your
again, man.
way. You gotta make your way to
I'll
City
see you
Field for
more often.
Sancocho Sunday. Sancocho Sunday with Juan
Unfortunately,
Soto is
Sundays
gonna
are
be
gonna
a
be. But
vibe, bro.
you gotta bring the eggs though. You gotta bring the eggs. Those things cost way too much money. We need you to bring some eggs
I'll
for
bring
just
the
for
eggs. I'll bring the
us in the
meat.
bad economy right now.
I'll figure it out. But I appreciate you guys having me on. It was fun doing this. It's been a minute. Now I got
Yeah,
the itch to
man.
start doing it more often. So we'll see.
Oh
You
man,
should. You should.
we'll
You should.
we'll be
Yo,
tuned in if you do, man.
definitely check Amish on Twitter or X, whatever Elon Musk wants to call
Yes.
it. Check him on there because dude is one of the most intelligent baseball follows. He
He's a
knows his
baseball
baseball.
encyclopedia, bro. He'll tell you
Yo,
any
bro,
stat you need to know, bro.
He
and he's
knows his
funny too.
baseball. He knows his bacon. He knows everything that you need to know to survive in the wilderness. Go follow him. He will tell you how to survive in a zombie apocalypse. So you know where to go.
Yo, shout out to AP for that.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, he's one funny cat too. He be catching me off guard with these side jokes sometimes when he be talking. I be like, yo, Amish is funny as hell. But we appreciate you for taking the time, bro, and joining us. We hope to see more content from you, especially now with Juan Soto out here. Your content is dope, man, and you bring a lot of joy to the Mets community. So appreciate you giving us the time.
Appreciate
AP, Chris, appreciate y'all. Y'all know y'all my brothers, man. Y'all got anything to say to the 170 that's in here before we close up?
Maybe I should
I
leave
just
before
want to
the
say,
show
and
ends.
spring training. Can spring training end tomorrow? Like right now, they can just say, "Yo, wrap up."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
No, I was just
Alright.
saying that maybe I should leave before the show ends. Maybe it'll turn out
maybe they
better.
end
For
spring training.
yeah,
You
maybe
leave the show.
I should leave. All right, spring training ends as soon as I end it. All right.
Yeah,
That's-
but man, yeah. Oh, but man, shout out to the 170 that's in here, man. Shout out to all the Met content creators that do it on a daily basis. Without you guys, we would not be where we are at. So we appreciate you. We appreciate all the love and support, and we appreciate Clay Holmes. Hey, shout out to Carlos Rodon. Maybe you could pick up some tips from Carlos
Oh, this
from
It
man,
Clay
bro.
never
Holmes. Anyways, I
ends,
want to
man.
yeah.
It
Anyways,
never ends
shout out
with
to
you.
y'all, man.
What
We love
is
y'all.
wrong
Appreciate
with
y'all,
you?
man. Have a good night, y'all.
SNY's Gary Cohen here, along with Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling. This is a Flushing Main Street bound 7 Express train. Thanks for riding with us, and have a great day.